Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chelsea and today we're going to be talking about 5 things that I didn't know about being plus size and pregnant until I became plus size and pregnant. When I look in the mirror, I don't necessarily see a plus size person. I've always thought of myself as a curvy lady. But according to my BMI and my clothes size, I am plus size or obese according to my BMI, which I don't love as a calculation of a person's overall health, but that is what it is. And there are some differences in pregnancy that you will see if you have a higher BMI than if you don't. So if you're interested to know how being pregnant differs when you are a little larger person, just keep on watching. A quick disclaimer before we get into this: I am not a doctor, I am not an OB, I am not a medical professional by any standard. These are just my personal experiences and how I have felt throughout this pregnancy myself. So just wanted to throw that in there as a quick disclaimer that I don't necessarily know the medical ramifications. This is just my personal experience. Things I did not realize about being plus size and pregnant. Number 1, you are not automatically considered high risk just because you're plus size or have a higher BMI. I expected to go into my first appointment and them tell me that I was at a high risk for all of these things and that I would be treated differently just because I have a higher BMI. That is not true. I am a very healthy person other than my weight. I always have been. I've always done really well on blood tests. I have a borderline low blood pressure. I've been told that my heart rate and blood pressure and oxygen all together make it look like I am a marathon runner on paper. So I don't know why I thought that just because I was a little bit larger, I would be considered high risk. My doctors had absolutely no concerns other than things that I mentioned in my video about my first and second trimester, like a little subchorionic hematoma, which has absolutely nothing to do with your weight. So don't be afraid that you're going to be considered high risk or that you're going to have all of these complications in pregnancy just because you're a little heavier or you're on the plus side of things. There is something called absolute risk versus relative risk. So whereas you can definitely make the argument that someone with a higher BMI has a larger chance of getting things like preeclampsia or any other complication that you want to throw in there. Yeah, there is a higher risk of that, but if you look at the absolute risk versus the relative risk, it's really not that big of a deal. So let's say that someone with a normal BMI, and I'm just throwing numbers out here. Let's say that the risk of someone with a normal BMI getting preeclampsia is 3%. You could say that someone with a high BMI of like 40 plus has a 5 times chance of getting preeclampsia than that normal BMI person, but the higher BMI person would then only have a 15% chance of getting preeclampsia. If the normal size person had a 3% chance and there's a 5 times difference, well, I mean, that's 15%. There's still an 85% chance that you won't. So don't hang your hat on relative risk. You have to look at the absolute risk as well. And chances are that you might not have any risk factors at all just because you're overweight. Things that I didn't know about being plus size and pregnant. Number 2, not all doctors are going to hound you about your weight at every appointment. That's just the truth. Maybe I just got really lucky with the practice that I go to, but only one comment has been made about my weight thus far, and that was actually at my 28-week appointment a couple weeks ago, where the only comment made was, "So it looks like we've got about 11 pounds gained at this point." And that was it. That's all they said. It wasn't a but or an and. It was just a statement of fact. 11 pounds gained. Looks good. You're right on track. So not all doctors are really all that concerned about it. Again, you got to look at the relative part of it. Where did you start versus where are you ending? If you're gaining too much, they'll let you know, but they haven't hounded me about it the whole time, because most doctors know, good doctors especially know, that the last thing you need to hear about when you're pregnant is about your weight and making you feel bad about something that you don't have a whole lot of control over while you're pregnant and supposed to be gaining weight to support your pregnancy and to grow your baby. So, not all doctors are going to make you feel like crap about how much you weigh while you're pregnant. Things I didn't know about being plus size and pregnant, part 3. While we're talking about weight, you might not gain weight in the beginning. This really freaked me out. I was not prepared to lose weight while I was pregnant, especially considering that I was not sick at all. I felt like I was eating constantly. I felt like I was eating, honestly, things that should make me gain weight, things that in the past would have made me gain weight. But here I am, every time I get on the scale at home and at the doctor's office, I'm down a few pounds. And in keeping with number 2 and the doctor not telling you anything about your weight unless it's a concern, my doctor's never really said anything other than sometimes this happens, especially if you have a higher weight starting out. So they always made me feel assured about it. There was never anything threatening, like, hey, we might need you to do XYZ crazy thing to gain weight. It was always kind of like, well, if you're really concerned, you can add a protein shake to your diet. If you're really concerned, we can do a non-stress test, but baby looks good, you look good, you're measuring on track. Not super concerned about it. So don't freak out if you're losing a little bit of weight and your care provider is not concerned about it, because apparently that's normal, because your baby is taking everything from you from now until forever, until the rest of your life. I was told to get used to that. Things that I did not know about being plus size and pregnant, number 4. The little belly that you had before, it doesn't mold into your pregnant belly. At least it didn't for me. And according to my research, it is that way for lots of plus size women with a little bit of a pooch. So I didn't have a very full belly before pregnancy, but I definitely had some like loose skin and just a kind of flabby belly in my lower stomach. And I was pumped when I got pregnant because I was like, man, it's just all gonna round out into this perfect pregnant belly. No, it did not. And that's the case for a lot of people. For some people, it's kind of a dramatic, what they call a B-shaped belly. I wouldn't say that I have a B-shaped belly, but I feel like without clothes on and without support garments on, I have a droopier pregnant belly. And that pooch is still down there and it's still looser than the rest of my stomach. So don't be alarmed if that happens. And honestly, I would Google pictures of B-shaped bellies. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll see that it's really not abnormal. And honestly, even really thin women can sometimes have a B-shaped belly. It just depends on how you carry, and it depends on where your uterus fills out, and it depends on where your baby likes to set up camp. So don't be alarmed if you don't have a perfectly round, angelic belly, because your belly is angelic, because it's carrying a miracle. So don't be worried about it. Last but certainly not least, things that I did not know about being plus size and pregnant, number 5. It may take you a little while to look in the mirror and see yourself as a pregnant woman rather than just the way you've always looked, and to accept your pregnant body. For me, this was because I've always had a little bit of a belly, like we just talked about. I've experienced seasons of life where I've had a really hormonal belly that swells up. I've fluctuated up and down between sizes and clothes. So for a long time, pregnancy just felt like that to me. It just felt like one day these pair of pants fit and one day these pair of pants fit. And one day I feel kind of bloated and gross, and the next day I feel just normal. And I looked in the mirror, and still sometimes I look in the mirror when I'm not wearing any clothes and I see this is just the same droopy belly I've always seen. And that's okay. It might take you a little while to look at yourself and say, wow, I'm actually pregnant. For me, I was 20 plus weeks before I looked in the mirror and looked at pictures of myself and was like, wow, I really feel like I'm pregnant. I'm carrying my child and it looks that way. So please just know that the way you see yourself in the mirror does not validate how well you're carrying your baby. It does not say anything about how great you're going to be as a mother. And it says absolutely nothing about how beautiful you are and how amazing you look as a pregnant woman. Because I promise you, everybody else sees a totally different version of yourself than you see in the mirror. And you know what? I'm really grateful for that some days. So, those are my 5 things that I had no idea about before I was pregnant and plus size. I really hope that you got some validation here today. I hope that the things that I have experienced, maybe they resonate with you a little bit and make you feel more at ease about your pregnancy. If you need more resources, because who doesn't love great resources, I highly recommend Plus Size Birth on Instagram. They are fantastic. There's a whole community of plus size moms who really just rely on each other and help each other, and it's just great. So they are at Plus Size Birth on Instagram, and also check out at Plus Size Baby Wearing on Instagram to help you feel a little more normal in your skin and to help normalize that not all moms are one size fits all, and that we are all our own unique and awesome people. Until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Please consider hitting like and subscribe on this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.